This is a team that goes on the road as a 7-point favorite. We're all on board thinking that all gas, no brakes is still going to work in Fayetteville, that Arkansas with KJ Jefferson is not going to really intimidate us. The 6.5, 7-point spread is disrespectful to Steve Sarkisian and everything that we've seen from Texas so far. 40-21 is the final as yes, sir. Parker and Chase are in Sanford, so let me do it one more time, way louder than I would ever do on another instant reaction pod. Yes, sir. Like dominant from start to finish. There was never a doubt. They never trailed. It was never in doubt. The Razorbacks take care of business. I talked all that smack about how Steve Sarkisian was coming out on the microphone talking about like, hey, this is an SEC mentality. This is an SEC environment. We can't wait to be SEC when Texas goes to the SEC. This is going to be a statement game for Steve Sarkisian. Woo, boy. Yes, sir.
See, I think you're asking the wrong question. The question isn't, should we be worried about Texas? It's, are we ready to talk about Arkansas being the second best team in the SEC West?
Nah. To convince me.
Did you see A&M on the road today against Colorado? Did you see LSU? Have you seen? Oh, I don't know, man.
I got you.
That was just a really impressive performance by Arkansas. And that defense, like, I don't know where I would put it as far as like the talent level, but they play mean. They play hard. Everybody on that defense is going 100% the whole time, and they were up in Texas's ass. It was just really fun to watch, aside from the fact that we had the lock on Texas, so we lost that. But once you got past it, I was just sitting back and enjoying it. And again, Sam Pittman, if you're listening, I'm sorry for doubting you. I'm sorry. I'm back on the Hogs train.
You know, you get a young quarterback in Hudson Card, wants to push the ball, create explosive plays. Arkansas doesn't really allow that. I thought he would do a better job of hitting stuff underneath. I was wrong about that. I really thought he would, and just, wasn't able to. They did a decent job on Bijan Robinson for the most part. And Texas defense, that was a question I think we talked about on the Locks pod coming in, right? How would they handle a different challenge, a team that could actually chuck it around a little bit? Although KJ Jefferson, really not a good thrower of the football for the most part. They ran all over him tonight. So Texas defense definitely has some considerable questions going forward. I don't hate it, like I don't hate my over 7.5 on Texas still after seeing some of the other Big 12 games, but like they're not there yet.
So there's a lot of comments right now, and I understand that so many of the listeners of this podcast, like I'm not being cocky. Thousands of listeners of this podcast are going to be getting this on Sunday and not dealing with it live. But if you are watching live on youtube.com/cover3, as a lot of people are, a lot of people want to know if Bud has realized that Florida State has lost.
Oh, I watched it live while I was talking to Ohio State.
Okay.
Go back and check the tape, see if you can figure out the
I saw it, yeah.
Yeah. That was some pretty shitty poor tackling there on that end sequence. Now, look, they're not any good. We'll see if they can bounce back. Probably not against Wake. But I don't want to put out a whole show that's just, hey, a team that with a 5.5 win total loses to an FCS team. Like, we could talk about it, I guess. But I kind of thought people wanted to talk about like better teams.
Danny's watching us right now live and crying.
Yeah, has Danny texted us yet?
No, Danny's
in New York, right?
Danny's on radio. He's on radio silence right now. He is not talking about the Noles. He will not be talking about the Noles until we force him to on Monday.
Yeah, Bud, you missed out on talking about the Noles as a weekly segment when I forced Danny to talk about Florida State once a week last year. In Mike Norvell year one.
All right, so I do want to say something.
Okay.
I did say on Monday's show that I was not sold on Mackenzie Milton, right?
Mm-hmm.
Despite great story, feel good, all this other stuff. I was like, I don't know, man. Like, kind of a cap gun for an arm, quick release. Like, I don't see Notre Dame really didn't bring a lot of pressure against him in that game. 18 of 31 for 133, a touchdown and a pick. Not the savior. Sorry. Like, I hate to be the stomper of narratives here. I wasn't sold on Monday. Did take a lot of crap for that on Twitter that I wasn't buying into the feel good story. I didn't think it was going to go like this, obviously, because Jacksonville State lost like 31-0 to UAB. But like I said on Nolecast, like I have no idea what to make of UAB. Like Zerrick Cooper's a pretty decent FCS quarterback. They either don't have anything around him or they just played like total garbage against UAB. And
Well, Coco pointed out in the private chat that like Danny has said all week, like I'm worried about the letdown.
Yes.
it was crazy.
Like I know that it's Jacksonville State, but I'm worried about where this team's going to be at as we get into that game. So that's very disappointing. And yeah, you had the over on the win total. This is one that makes you very nervous. But hey, I took a lot of L's today. So on win totals, like
I think my Kansas State win total died today.
Yes.
Scott, we don't know what the injury is yet, but based on the reaction from Chris Kleeman and just the way he was talking about it after the game, I think we might have seen the last of Skylar Thompson this season.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I missed that one. I wasn't live betting that one.
It was a non-contact knee injury, and there are images of Kleeman just on the field, just like on his knees, just looking. Yeah.
What did we have? 5 or 5.5?
They were at
5.5.
And I mean, they won, but it's just they nearly lost to Southern Illinois after Thompson left the game and Will Howard had to come in. So I'm not optimistic about the Wildcats. And that, again, going back to what we were talking about with Texas and Iowa State in the Big 12, that's another reason why I still think that Texas could be okay in the Big 12. I still think Iowa State could be okay in the Big 12 because we've seen some bad performances from those teams this last week or two.